to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. After yesterday's interview in JKL, Very Reverend Sammy Wainaina has been trending for better part of Thursday. And the discussion around him trending is his position on state and church. While President William Ruto maintains that his dalliance with the evangelicals shows the state of the church in politics, but there seems to be different understandings to this. Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I just want to explain for you in details why President Ruto has gone back to the clergy. That's it. That's it. It's not about what is being hawked. Sometimes in politics, you tend to look for what you're not being told, because what you're not being told is what you ought to know. So kindly subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell. I want to say thank you very much for 42,000 subscribers in this channel. I know that now the rate is improving. I want to continue urging you that kindly subscribe and share the video with someone next to you. Now, I know many people have been asking about subscribing. You just click the subscription button. What you need to do, you must make sure that you've logged in with your Gmail. So that if you click, it ends to automatic. Now, very big question in this country: why Ruto has gone to church? And what also, before, as we think about that, what will be, I'm going to look at the comment section, what will be your honest understanding about Raila's IBC prayers? What will be your honest understanding about that? Let me tell you. Amidst criticism of UDA leader becoming bit of that relationship becoming bit of a cultic, being idolized in those places, I want to tell you something about what happened in this country on Ruto's relationship with the church. I know many people might look at it as the context of 2022. There's some two things that, and it's bordering the church, that were whipped against Raila Odinga. Let's start here. In 2014, if you remember Victor Kanyari, Pastor Kanyari, there was an expose in KTN, and if I'm not wrong, it was done by the current Nyali Member of Parliament, Jicho Pevo, on the conduct of the church, on the services there. And it was on 4th November. I remember I was a student still in college. So on 11th November 2014, these dates are very critical. The then Attorney General, Gideon Muigai, because out of the uproar, because there were a lot of complaints from the public, the Gideon Muigai banned registration of churches. That was in November 2014. Gideon banned registration of churches. So that, to some extent, it went along until even to 2017, when they were heading to 2017 general election. The churches were trying to push President Uhuru Kenyatta, former President Uhuru Kenyatta, to lift the ban. But it did not happen. Now, remember, for all that time, DP Ruto was a deputy president. So in between 2018 to 2022, which these churches then coalesced around William Ruto. And wakati sasa Ruto akianza kuenda, they lost their relationship with Uhuru Kenyatta. Remember, Uhuru Kenyatta is a Catholic. So yeah, mostly he's with the mainstream team, the mainstream churches. And when he lost the touch, then they could not access power. They could not access the president, and that ban could not be lifted until 15th July 2022, a month to the general election. that ban was lifted. It won't mean so as just a trap to win the churches. So when that ban was lifted, it was lifted, and there were other discussions on qualifications of making sure that things are done. It is not new. In Rwanda, Paul Kagame did the same. Banned registration of churches and then had to put very strict measures on procedures that were going to be done. That was one thing. Second thing, when Mama Ida attended a book launch in Nairobi, she mentioned about regulation of these third generation churches. And the next day, Rigathi Gachagua went to Mount Kenya and told the voters in Mount Kenya that bibi yake anasema wakipata watafunga kanisa. The following week, when Mama Ida went to Meru, if you remember, he went to attend some Catholic event. She went there, sorry for saying he. She went there and she was heckled. Now, what am I saying? The church thing was a tool that I know no one else wants to talk about it. It was a tool that was sharpened against Raila Odinga, specifically in the mountain. And during the campaigns, I kept on insisting that the Azimio team needed to make sure that they don't fall for that trap. They don't comment about the issue of the churches, because at Asahi, the more people talk about prayers can't fix our economy, in religion, everyone is normally foolish. So I'm using the wrong word. I've just ran out of the right word. Or myopic. Let me draw the word foolish. Let me say myopic. Or just one-sided. Be it umesoma, haujasoma, umefanya nini, wewe ni mzee mtoto. Religion is normally blind. That's why someone says they're not of the people. So, it was sharpened against Raila Odinga to show the voters in the mountain that Raila is against the church. Remember, by that time, now the current president, was giving them money and donating and building churches there. So it was used against him. And so when I heard that they were also planning to do such prayers, I said, yes. Face it head on. I know it can mock it, you can term it different words. I can say that when Raila wants to go to Mount Kenya, let him go to the church. Aende huko. Because huko ndio waliambiwa yeye hataki uganga nini, and it was packaged with the other bad stories. So that worked by then for Ruto. And that is what I'm telling you, that it will bring me to a point why Ruto is going back. His mission with this man. Those two instances will tell you that the whole of that campaign and his relationship with the church was that Uhuru, because Uhuru is Raila, na iyo bana iko imewekwa, they were against the church. They were meant, and the people were told that. So, this brings me to my first point, my first reason why Ruto has gone there. Anyone who is going to oppose government is going to be treated, or rather projected, as ungodly. Take it to bank. This is the ground, and that is why Raila just also needs to do those prayers at IBC. Anyone, even here, as we are doing analysis, when we say, like personally, I've been so much strong on this factor. So some people, and those who are already whipped into that specific political thinking, are meant to project those who criticize government as people who are ungodly. And you know, that is why you can be told that there is an altar of the country, here this, here that. When all this is happening, a staffer at NHAF was shot in some mysterious situation in the CBD. You wonder, do we really have a country? Let me tell you. The other second reason why Ruto has gone back to the clergy is They want to sneak political messages that are packaged with Bible verses, because that, according to them, first, it's going to engage with their voters or their followers, and it would winks them to believe that is it. In fact, credibility of the messaging is going to be achieved by the Bible verses that is accompanying them. It's it. Why? There was a plan to, and if you are keen, speak to people in the media space, by the way, especially these mainstream reporters. Try to dig deep. If you know a reporter, you know someone, try to ask them about the revenue stream. You will be told there was a plan to cripple the media, and because the media at one point, they were perceived as pro-Azimio. And that is why you can see even the regulator is asking for photos of what happened at Mtaani's place. But that seems to have failed, because the consumption pattern is very clear. And you talk to the newspaper people, they will tell you, speka picha Raila hapo, hey, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Hey, unajua hiyo wiki sales imeenda. You know, the pattern here is, the consumption pattern is, you can't support government throughout and make money. The audience generating model. It doesn't work. So that has failed, and the media is trying now to play the neutral ground. With neutrality, they don't win, or they don't benefit. The state doesn't benefit. So that is why the messages are being sneaked in the church. It's for messaging, and it's boosting the credibility of the Bible verses. And I can tell you, I saw one bishop even telling us about opposition, and here I was like, what? What? You know, I think lie or someone, I don't know. Even the men of the cloth will be charged to disseminate the information. That is the third reason why Ruto has gone to them. They want to create new layers and hold them rewarding the MOU. There was an MOU to exempt them from, I don't know, some taxes, I don't know, import. But then the narrative is everyone has to pay tax, including them. There was a plan in the MOU for them to be given some ministry. You know, there was a plan for them to be, I don't know, given land to build, a streamlining of the registration of the churches. There was a bit of those promises. Now, the reality here is not all of them have been achieved. Not all of them have been given out. Some of those realities, they're just there, but they have not yet come out. So what's happening here is, when you go back to them, it's just finding. In fact, they are being rewarded by these daily allowances here, there. No, easy vitu kidogo, nakuja allowance, hapa, you know. It's just a matter of keeping them afloat, because the MOU might have collapsed. Lastly, and that will be a sad one. If the clergy can be used to cleanse what is happening in government, it's not an exemption. There is a place where their ruthlessness works. You may not want to attack, you may not want to revisit Mtaani, but the essence of revisiting Mtaani, whether it's by law, whether you are abiding to the court order or not, it goes against the natural law. The public will always see it as a revenge. Now that is what you need to defend in the church. There's some of these things you will have to defend them in the Bible verses here. You know, you can attack Raila there, abuse Raila there, then when you go to church and tengeneze stories here and there. So that's my take. And you can also, I also want to read your comments. Politics and religion.